Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Thank you for tuning in. We got one more week of the regular season. We're going to look back at the bets we placed and talk about some storylines. Let's do it. What's going on, everyone? Thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out with us for a little bit here on Talkin' Baseball. It's the Tidbits episode. We got Trevor, we got Jake, myself, BBD. We're all coming to you from different Roosevelt studios as we are solo. Jake in Roosevelt's South, BBD, Roosevelt's more South. I'm in Roosevelt. Is that the official name of yours, BBD? Or are you Roosevelt's kind of west?
I'm like northwest of the office, if we're being specific.
Okay, he's Roosevelt's northwest, kind of. I'm Roosevelt's mid-Atlantic headquarters, and Trev is Roosevelt's the far out west. So welcome to the show. I hope you guys are doing well. Trev, how are you?
I'm doing great. Loving the last week of baseball. Loving the drama we have going on in the central region. We were talking before the show about some of the dumb takes we had. And I'm okay with admitting that some of my takes but preseason were pretty dumb. Or at least they look dumb now. At the time, I don't know how dumb they were. But I'm excited to talk about it.
Jake, are you excited?
I'm excited, man. Wild week. Gonna be some fans that are kind of excited. Their team sneaks in as the 8th best team in the National League, and I think there's gonna be some teams that get a real look in the mirror this year. If your team didn't make the postseason, yeah, it was a short year, and you can point to some little stuff. But I mean, if you're not gonna be one of the top half in your conference league. It's not good. So excited to see how it sorts out. And it's also kind of crazy that 6 more games are going to change how a fan base and how GMs and coaches get looked at. Pretty wild.
Who do you got as the biggest mirror lookers in the AL? I mean, I think the Angels are the clear-cut winner for mirror lookers. And then the rest of it, I don't know, like Seattle, Baltimore, Detroit, Kansas City. I don't think any of those are looking in the mirror saying, what are we? I think they're all kind of pretty firm. The Rangers is the next best mirror looker in the AL, but even them, I don't know. It was a weird thing that they were going for. It didn't work exactly. I think they can chalk it up to the season. You got a lot of mirror lookers in the NL. A lot.
I don't want to get too crazy here, but I actually don't even know if I want to say this on air.
Okay.
The Rangers.
Well, you don't like them.
You know I don't like the Rangers.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it. Never mind. Never mind.
All
I have
right.
another one for you, though.
Well, the National League, Jake.
Well, AL.
You have someone else in the AL? Boston?
The Houston Astros need to look themselves in the mirror because they have decisions going forward. Who they can keep, who they can sign. They're losing guys. Greinke obviously been amazing this year, but he's on the back end of his career, you'd assume.
Yeah.
They need to figure out. For a long time, they had a plan. The plan worked. Obviously, a few hiccups in there that'll help. Now they're at the point where a lot of these teams get to where it's like, okay, what's next? Like, are they going to go into a full rebuild again?
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a different mirror.
I like that, Trev. I do think postseason is going to dictate how Houston feels. Like, that's a team that can still make a little bit of noise. But you're right. I mean, JV out all next year. Springer is going to be a free agent. Like, the Houston Astros are going to feel pretty different pretty quickly. Yeah, it's the Angels, and kind of in a hilarious twist, we've been getting excited about the Mariners potentially giving a scare. The Angels are a half game behind the Mariners. It'll just be hilarious if they finish their season strong and the Angels finish 9th and they're like, "Hey, we weren't that bad. We just needed more season." And that sounds like something the Angels would say.
The Angels are the biggest mirror looker in the AL. In the NL, Jake, you have a couple. I'll feed you some mirror lookers. The Mets, the
That's
Rockies.
big time.
Mets and the Rockies, big time. I'm not even going to put the Giants on there. I think if the Giants are looking in the mirror, they're liking what they're seeing and what happened and what transpired, even if they miss. The Brewers, I think they're big time mirror lookers because they went out and made some moves this offseason, and no one kind of fully grasped them, and they didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. They also lost a lot of guys. I think the Brewers, they're kind of middle of the pack, and they hope to make one push that gets them there, and they can still have it this year. So I don't think the Brewers have a big mirror gut check. Like, they didn't expect to be a dominant team. I think this is kind of what the Brewers do expect them to be.
I think they expected themselves to be a little more than this, but they had some untimely slumps.
Lorenzo Cain opted out.
Yeah.
Yelly hasn't been.
The Phillies.
The Phillies is mine. I was going to say the Phillies.
The Phillies don't make the top 8 teams. I think that's a huge mirror looker.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you how important, depth was this year. Bullpen depth, especially, the starters they're good. They're top heavy there. You need starting pitching. It's the hardest thing to acquire and the hardest thing to develop. They got 2 good guys. They developed one, paid for one, but they need somebody from the organization to step up.
And this is partially why we didn't want to fully deep dive on some of the baseball talk today, because, in a week, the Brewers could be the 6th seed and be like, hey, let's go Brewers. We're 2nd in the Central. So we're going to let it sort out a little bit. It's not worth us giving a bunch of fire takes. But yeah, I think the NL is going to have a couple teams that are very, very disappointed, starting with the Mets, maybe those zombie rocks, depending tonight's outcome. And then two, 3 more other teams are just going to be in disbelief they didn't make an 8-team playoff.
I think the Brewers are right where they want to be. I mean, they paid Yelly, they locked him up, and they got some young talent that's cheap for them. Keston Hiura is making no money. They have some starters that kind of came and, showed up this year, some starting pitching. And like Jake said, like, they're just kind of a move away from every year. It seems like that. Like, they're right there. They make a move. They've been been net positive with their moves in the last couple of seasons. So I think they're kind of where they want to be. The Phillies, to me, is the biggest one. They got to figure out what's going on there.
No, it's insane. Cards Brewers are playing 5 to wrap up the year.
I know.
So whichever team wins 4 of those games has a great year they expected. Whichever team doesn't is having a nightmare. Disgusting. That's not baseball.
It is disgusting.
You know who's like looking in the mirror and being like, ooh, yeah, I like it? Like the White Sox, the Padres. I mean, they're looking in the mirror like Alex Rodriguez looks in the mirror. They're kissing that mirror.
Tasty.
Yeah. Indians kind of feeling that way too. Like we're getting rid of people, but we're still here. Like
they're looking in the mirror because they're disgusted that they're seeing like they're like, why am I wearing this suit? Can't afford this damn suit.
Ooh.
I'd much rather be in street clothes saving up for this suit. I can already afford this. This is gross.
Yeah, it's either that way or like the no body image confidence. Like they're, pretty good looking guy, but they're looking in the mirror and they're like, I'm not that guy. I can't,
Are they wearing Spanx right now? Are they holding it all in?
The therapist is like, draw a chalk outline for what you see. And they just like Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
They're like svelte. It's like Gabe Kapler. And he just draws.
Gabe Kapler.
Let's get that Gabe Kapler beach pics going this episode.
Just hot, dude. Just like so dreamy. Well, not dreamy, but just manly. Anyway, let's go around the league with some quick hitter updates before we jump into looking back at how dumb and smart we were before the season. I got some news for you guys that affects playoff teams. Verlander, Tommy John. We kind of talked about this. He's not part of the picture. And he's going to be out of baseball for a while, 2 full years. How old is he going to be when he comes back now?
Old.
40, 41.
So that's sad. Speedy recovery, and they don't have him. Ken Giles also getting Tommy John surgery. Blue Jays were trying to have him come back and be part of their bullpen for their playoff series. It's not going to happen. He pitched a little bit, gave up a home run to Voit, and then now he's out. Tommy John. Anything on either of those two besides?
I was just going to ask Trev. There was, a lot of nice words on Twitter for Verlander and a lot of if anybody can do it, it's this guy. Do we think, and again, I'm not trying to say this in a rude way, do we think those were just nice words to say it? Or I don't know, do you guys think we're going to be here spring training 2022 being like, Justin Verlander's twirling the pill? I mean, I assume he's going to fight and try to make a comeback, but I mean, we're talking about some serious odds.
A couple things. He'll be 39 before he pitches again. And then his contract situation, he's a free agent after next year. So coming off of Tommy John rehabbing 2021, he'll be with a new team or with a new deal in 2022, and you're looking at a 39-year-old coming off a TJ. What does that deal look like? So if I'm a team, I'd give him a chance.
Well, if you're Tigers and you just need some fun for the fan base,
I could see a team that say, "Hey, man, we need a fourth guy." Like
fourth guy. I'm so cynical. Like I don't expect to see Verlander pitch again, but that's just because I'm so cynical. He's 39. Tommy John. I can see him getting to a point in rehab where he says, "What am I doing?"
Yes, I do see that as well, and I'm going to do my favorite thing right now, which is tell you how much money this guy's made. He right now is sitting at 260 M's with the 33 still coming next year. So we're talking right around 300 M's. He is a very spirited competitor, and I wouldn't be surprised if he really, really wants to come back and give it a go. Now, obviously, he could be like, nah, this is stupid. If he has setbacks, changes everything. But if you're a team looking, like I said, man, like for a back of the rotation guy and with plus potential, like that's kind of your dude.
I love it, Jim. An incentive-laden contract for those 2022 Tigers. We won't be sleeping on them then.
The Yanks.
A little full circle. Oh,
the Yanks.
Stop.
He'd look good in pinstripes, guys. They used to do stuff like that. The veteran Yankees used to do stuff like that.
That was before they had an analytics department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got, people Teixeira got her, and we just had Lyle Overbay play.
Where's Verlander from? Like, what's home?
He is from Virginia
or something.
Virginia.
Okay, so the Nats. Done. Nats or Tigers.
Yeah, but he lives in LA now.
Obvi.
Well, he lives in Bel Air, I believe. So
he can get a couple houses if he really wants.
He's probably got a few residences, if I had to guess.
Well, that's that news. AJ Puck also undergoes shoulder surgery. Bummer.
Cole Hamels, he's done.
Cole Hamels is done, which, the Braves relying on him already was nuts. I'd be shocked if the Braves go deep. I know their offense is really, really good, and in the regular season, they can outscore people. You need some pitching in the postseason. Like, you need a 1 and a 2, and they have a 1 right now. And Wright's been good. Ian Anderson, the rookie's been good. We're talking postseason. It's a whole different thing. In a crazy stretch with no off days. I have the Braves right now out of my making a World Series run chances because of just no pitching.
Can we talk about that just real briefly? Because we do have some stuff to get into. You guys know who my pick was. I'm sticking with them. I'm picking the Rays to win the World Series. You guys, I know, are probably preseason Yankee, I'd assume. Is that unbiased? Forget about your fandom. Has that changed? Like, if you had to lay money right now, straight up, who's going to win the World Series? I mean, is it still Yankees for you?
No, But well, it depends on the odds you're getting and all that. But no, I mean,
no, just straight. Who you think is gonna win the World Series? No odds, nothing like that.
I need the Yankees to beat a good pitcher before the postseason, and they don't face any. So it's like I hope that they get Sixto or they get Pablo in that Miami series to end the season, and they roll out the good offensive lineup. We haven't seen the offense beat a good pitcher yet, since they've been healthy. So Jake's probably a little more optimistic than me. I still am not incredibly gung-ho about the squad going into the postseason. And, only one team wins the World Series. So it's not like I'm really down on them. I just think the Rays, if they run into like Cleveland's pitching staff in a short series, like I do think that's troublesome for this lineup who hasn't gotten to a good pitcher.
I think the matchups matter a little more this year. I don't know if that sounds corny, but you're right. I mean, when are you running into Minnesota? Are you running into Cleveland? Are you running into Tampa? I think if you're looking at best teams in the American League, you can make a very easy argument for the Yankees. What Tampa did to them in the regular season was manhandle them, but that also wasn't the full Yankees squad. So I don't know, man. I kind of want to see how this postseason plays out because circling back to the Braves, what if that Braves offense stays hot and they go to the ALDS and they manhandle a team's pitching? You can wear them out in the first couple games. So this whole postseason has me a little shook. I mean, looking back a week ago when the Yankees lineup was going insane, you're right. It wasn't against A pitchers. Can they look like that? Sure. I probably don't feel as great about the Yankees as I did at the start of the year just because of Tampa Bay and how much Tampa beat them. Like if they played a 5-game set versus Tampa, I could see Tampa winning the first 2 and being like, all right, this was a good year. Or I could see the Yankees coming out, taking the first game and being like, we're going to make the whole regular season useless. So I'd say slightly less confident because of Tampa, Oakland, Minnesota, Cleveland. The White Sox are a little better than you expected. So I
like the White Sox. My favorite would be the Rays and the White Sox.
The White Sox bring it down a little notch. They're slowing down a little bit. Robert's slowing down. Keuchel is a guy who had the Yankees numbers a lot. Giolito's a stud. I'd have to look into the rest of that pitching staff more. But again, we're going to see some weird parts of teams we don't normally see in the postseason. We're going to see a lot of 5th and 6th relievers getting important innings that normally wouldn't happen. So I don't know how that factors in. But when you say World Series, I think from the start and the beginning, and you could probably check the tapes on us, it's still the Dodgers. And then after that, it's everyone else.
Padres look pretty good too.
I like them. I mean, I got to see, they had that Big Brother series and the Dodgers slapped them around a little bit. And this is the Dodgers, man. I mean, Houston beat them in the World Series in 2017. Everything has been built so much for this and they feel really good.
Yeah.
And then they run into the Reds in a 3-game series. Good luck.
Yeah. I'm ready for the Dodgers to lose in a weird way. Yeah. More than win.
My most nervous series for them will be the wild card.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, if they face against Reds or something, I think so much pressure on them. And if they win, it'll be a huge release. So, all right.
Release?
Yes, because I think then they can breathe easy. It's like the wild card game. Like when the Yankees played the wild card game against the Twins and the A's, once you win and then you say, oh my God, now we get to the DS where we have a 5-game series. It's a huge release. It's like a huge breathe easy. Okay. Not every inning matters like crazy. Obviously 1 game's different than the 3, but still that first round is going to be scary.
It is going to be scary, man.
Yes. Fucking butt clench season. Ron Gardenhire retires with a week left. Trev, your old manager. Hopefully everything's all right. It was kind of odd that he retired when there's only a week left. Maybe
I haven't dug too much into this. He he had health issues when he was bench coaching for the Diamondbacks, and then I thought it was an interesting move for the Tigers to bring him in like anyway. Was it last year? I think was his first year with the Tigers, and I thought he did a pretty good job handling people there, and the guys loved playing for him, and that's kind of like the legacy that Gardy leaves behind. Like and I can get a little sappy here, man, because this is my manager. Okay, this guy, sort of believed in me. I say he believed in me. I mean, I had to earn it with him. But look, he had those great teams with Santana and the M&M boys and all those guys winning all those division titles. The Yankees were were tough on him, obviously, but was a player's manager, like through and through. Always defended you. People remember him for getting ejected all the time. He loved that. If there's one thing I'll remember about Gardy, it's like you knew when he was gonna go out. Like it just kind of like built up. You saw it in his eyes, and you just knew like the team needed something, or like he felt like his players were getting shafted. He was gonna go get in the umpire's ass, and it became almost like a show for him, because the fans loved it. Like that became something that he was known for. So whenever he went out, if you were in at Target Field or you were in the Metrodome, like you knew you were about to see something awesome. Like he was going to get his money's worth. And the fans, when he would finally walk back to the dugout, almost every time he got ejected, standing ovation. Like that was kind of like his thing. I think he had 170 something career ejections, which is really funny to think about. It's a lot of money that he spent, that he got fined doing that, man. But definitely a good guy in the game.
Trev, how do you pay fines? Does like MLB invoice you? Do they just take it out of your next paycheck? Like what's the actual X's and O's on paying MLB fines as a player?
You're allowed to, whatever you're fined, to pick a charity and donate that to.
Oh, nice.
So they will invoice you, but you can donate. It's not like MLB is just like taking the money and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they invoice you. Find out what you owe. I didn't have a lot of them, so I don't have a lot of experience. I was trying to keep my money. But Gardy, he spent. I wonder what his career fines were. We got to find that out. I'm going to try to find that number. So I think that'd be pretty funny. Gardy was, man, he was a lot of other things legendary. I could keep going on him. Like he would eat sandwiches without the bread, but then slam like 6 Coors Lights, just playing for the tie. That was his thing. So kind of a jolly, fun-loving dude. Attention to detail.
Sandwich without the bread, and then 6.
Yeah, he kept playing for the tie, Although I think if you look at him, it wasn't necessarily a tie. He's a little portly, but definitely, like I said, just a good man in the game.
Nice. All right. Yeah. Jake, you got any favorite Gardenhire memories?
Just, baseball lifer, and it's fun, we're bringing up the history now. Like, there was a day when Ron Gardenhire was a Mets shortstop prospect. And that's, I don't have those images of Ron Gardenhire in my head. I have the picture of, that guy that was having 6 beers to wash down dinner. But he, baseball lifer, I think 46 most wins as a manager. Kind of thought it would be a little higher when I researched that. But no, it's good for him. And enjoy it. 62. So he's got some time to enjoy it.
1,200 wins.
If you Google Ron Gardenhire Mets, some great pictures come up.
Another cool thing that Gardy did was he had his guys, like he had his staff, and he was loyal to them. And they all got axed when the new regime came in, or prior to that, when they brought in Paul Molitor, they got rid of Gardy and basically his whole coaching staff. Then when he got hired by the Tigers, they were all with them with the Tigers, man. So that's loyalty right there, man. That's something you don't get a lot of still today. So got to give kudos to that.
That's cool. All right. We pulled up the episode notes from the episode we did. Kudos to Bug dude for his great note keeping. Episode 166, prop bets before the season started. And we gave you guys some over-unders we liked, some batting average, some team wins. We just pulled them up before we started the show. We wanted to take a look, see how everyone's doing. It looks like we opened this show talking about you grilling, Trev.
I know. What's up with that?
Well, you got the Traeger. You hate the Traeger people. You love the Traeger people. You're a Traeger person. You hate yourself. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Team over-unders.
I got a question. Is somebody bringing us this portion of the show by chance?
Great question, David.
That is a great question, BBD. And the answer that I have for you is yeah. This episode is brought to you by DraftKings. And week two of football is in the books. Now it's time to review the tape and get ready for week 3. There's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of week 3, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to turn $1 into $100 when they bet on any team. That's right. You can place a $1 bet on any team, and if that team wins, you cash a cool Benjamin. How could you pass that up? Don't worry if football isn't for you. DraftKings is giving all of you MMA fans the same great offer to use for this weekend's UFC 253. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Jomboy when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Pick any team during week 3, bet $1 on them, and win $100 if they win. That's $1 to win $100 when you use promo code Jomboy during signup. For a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. You know, I used to grow up listening to WFAN a lot. Biking the Mad Dog. Spent my days listening to them. And, you know, the Mink Man does the fast talking updates, or Erica Hershowitz. And I was always so like, what a fucking gig. What a gig. You just go in and out of commercial and you just speed read. Now here I am with the gig. I just
both gigs.
Who you want to be, Jake. Just, you know, you can dream it. You can do it. I can be the fast.
You can do anything you want in this world.
Fast talking update.
Not true. It's not. Don't give people that false. So not anything you want to do, but within reason. Within reason.
I think we sell like a quote board. That's Jake's quote. You can be anything you want to be in this world.
What's something I can't do, Trev?
You probably like you personally
dunk a basketball.
Yeah, you probably couldn't be
many basketballs next
on a regulation size rim without help.
So many different objects that I can use.
Yeesh. All right.
There's guys my height that dunk. You just have to put in a shitload of time.
Do you think if you trained your whole life you could dunk?
Yes.
Yes. He could. You just gotta do it.
Have you seen Spud Webb?
He worked at it, but he was also blessed with a natural ability to leap.
You don't need, like, Spud Webb's a great example, Jake, but also there's like guys out there on YouTube that are like short. They're like, I
have to dedicate your life
years
to it,
of effort to dunk. They're like 5'5" dudes, and they just spent.
Can you imagine that was your life's work to dunk the
Yeah.
basketball one time?
Dude, I mean, there's guys, it's the weirdest thing. There's guys on YouTube that are like short guys. They're like, I put in the work, and then they dunk, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jake wanted to dunk. You give him like 2 years and the actual training method.
Holy, right now, I would take whatever bet you wanted. 2 years.
I'd rather not dedicate 2 years of my life to only dunking a basketball.
But if he wanted to, he could do it.
I think there was like a year period of my life where I could dunk. Never two-handed, and like had to have the ball a little squishy so I could palm it a little bit better. But like, okay, man. Hey, I believe in you, bro.
Yeah. Thank you. Good example.
All right.
I took the Twins. I said they were a lock for the playoffs, and that they should win the AL. Now, a lot of that changed with the playoff format because the first seed didn't matter anymore. But I took the Twins over, and it hasn't hit yet. I don't know if it is. I don't. Bad place to start because I didn't write down what it was. I think it was 36. You said, Jake.
I'm guessing. Again, bad place to start with that number.
I don't know if this is the number we use, but I'm looking at another place that had an updated 60 season over under
34
or 34.
That's what I'm looking at too. Twins, they're at 33, so I'm pretty happy with that. I do think the Twins will get the over. So go.
What
was that?
Trev's big one was the Padres, which he deserves some love for. He thought they'd sneak over, and
that wasn't my lock though. That was a good pick, but that was not my.
Yeah, we're just going down the order here. You did say the Padres over. So
that was a good one.
Good job by you. Good job by me. Unless the Twins don't win again, I will have that.
They should win.
They should win. Jake, you had. Is it on here?
So I had my team bets could both be losers. My Orioles are giving me hope. I thought that one was a loser with their good start. It's 25. I think they're at 23 wins with 6 games to go. So if they finish bad,
the under.
I took the under. The Nats were my big loser. I shat on them all off season. And then when they went to 60 games, I was like, oh, they're going to find that magic and just keep it running. They've been terrible, and the MLB is against them. And I'll dip out.
What you said was
probably
the World Series hangover.
Worst bet.
You said they were going to be better
Scherzer
for the hangover. Yeah.
I thought Scherzer and Strasburg wouldn't hold up for a full season. And then when they got rid of the full season, I got excited. Straight shat the bed. The whole Soto thing's honestly bizarre if you look back, but probably the worst bet of all of these you'll hear. It's okay. Moving on. It looks like Jim, you got interested in the Phillies making the playoffs. This was before the expanded playoffs. Yeah. So we'll just table that a little bit, but I liked it.
Although the tidbit there is Girardi will max out a team's regular season record. I don't know if they've really done that.
Well,
we had some discussions about that. Jim liked Girardi's bullpen stuff, and then he did acknowledge that Girardi had some nice pieces to work with in the bullpen. In New York.
I think I said that thinking the Phillies had like a couple pieces, and then I realized they had 0 pieces, and I came down from it a little bit, like, oh, I don't know if he can do it with that. Well, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I like told anyone to bet on the Phillies. I just said I'm interested.
The final team note looks like Trevor went with Tigers under. I kind of baited him into that because I talk so confidently about the Orioles under because I was like, every team's going to beat the Orioles this year. And Trev's like, okay, who's another bad team? I like that. So you went Tigers, and hey, we slept on the Tigers, and they're great.
No, we slept on them, and I slept the entire year. I'm still sleeping. They've already eclipsed the 21.5. They're at 22 wins right now. Clearly, that's a losing bet. They came out hot, won some games, hung around 500 for a while, and then they've just been kind of on their way down, which is interesting because that trajectory lines up with when they started bringing some of their guys up, some of their young pitchers.
Yeah,
it was like they were kind of trying to make a run a little bit, and then it all kind of went down there. CJ Cron was playing well, then he ended up getting hurt. But that obviously is a loser, and we're not. These are tough bets here.
Okay, I said I couldn't bet on the Tigers under because the Royals existed. I just went to see how the Tigers and the Royals have fared. They're 3-3 against each other, and they got 4 games to end the season.
Ooh.
Hey, did you guys Did you see? So the Cardinals have a doubleheader the day after the season ends with the Tigers, I believe, if they need the extra games. You know, Jake, how we were saying they're only scheduled to play 58 games. And I believe everyone commented this, that the Cardinals have a doubleheader. I think it's with the Tigers. If let me see. What date would that be? September 28th?
28th, and luckily the NL does start the day after the AL, so they'd still have some gap days. But yeah, that could be wild. And I wonder.
But imagine you're the Tigers.
Yeah. Can we pass?
And you think your season's over, and now hold up. We have to play a double header against the Cardinals, which changes everything maybe in the NL postseason thing.
Fun.
And we're the AL Tigers and don't give a fuck. Like,
could be fun. That could be fun for them. Playoff type atmosphere, like obviously not atmosphere, but playoff implications, like a young squad like that. I think that's could be fun. It also could be like, man, I really just want to go home.
I think I could see the Tigers having some fun with it. Bring back
Ronnie G
comes
comes
for the 2 games.
back.
Yeah, I love it. That's going to be bizarre because if, like, let's say the Cardinals are in the playoffs, could they go from the 8 to the 6 seed? That's some serious funny business. That excited for that to now come up. I think we're into the individual player stuff.
yeah. Jake, you did great here. You want to share? I did bad. I did bad here. I'll go first. I had Benintendi over. I'm very curious to see what I said. Part of me thinks I was probably trying to just pamper Red Sox fans because I was going to shit on them with JBJ, but I don't know why I would choose the Benny over. I did. And then I said the JBJ under. I'm wrong on both of those. Benintendi got hurt. Yeah, maybe the worst 5-game season you could have. I think you play like 7 games, 10 games. And JBJ hit over. I think JBJ's got like a 270 batting average now.
Didn't he have 4 hits against the Yankees the other night? He was probably thinking about that.
He did. I wonder what his batting average was before then. I mean, on September 8th, he had a 240 batting average, and I was right around the line. He got real hot since then. I mean, his last 10 games, he's got a 370 batting average. So he's over. I'm wrong on that. But Jake, yours were really good.
I did good. I stumbled into Goldschmidt. I was banking on last year was the worst year of his career, and it was still really good. The over-under was 275. I think right now he's hitting 307, so I should be safe there. Hope it comes down to those Tigers bonus games. And then I followed up with LeMahieu. I was scared of being a Yankees homer, and it was 290. He's going for the batting title right now. So the batting averages, I did good, Trev.
You are a good prop bettor. Hey, who's that hot chick in the background? What's
Hey,
That's my sister, Courtney.
Oh, sorry, thought it was your fiance. I was making a joke. But what's up?
That was funny.
Still hot.
Still hot. Mine were also bad. I am on Jim's side of this. I took Kevin Pillar to hit under 270, and I think you guys kind of goaded me into this as well.
No. This was the fishiest line, and Pillar's at 283. But Trev, you found the fishiest line. The Kevin Pillar line was incredibly fishy. Now Vegas knew what was up because he's over it, but we were looking at a guy at the time who had never hit over 270.
Yes.
He's only hit over 270 once in his career for a full season. He was not a hot hitter early in the season either. So like we couldn't find a single reason why the Kevin Pillar line was that high. Now Vegas knows some shit because he's over.
He's at 283.
Yeah.
And had him at 270. So there is some wiggle room there if he just has a bad last week, I guess. Possibly could happen. And then my other one was Moustakas, who I really love this one. I kind of went heavy on this one, you guys. 255 over. Moose is not getting it done for me this year. I just had it up. I think he's around 200 with probably really no chance of getting to 255. Right now he's sitting at 218. He'd have to get really hot. And he can do it. Hit a home run last night's game. He'd have to get really, really hot. But so both of mine are looking like losers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good and bad across the board from us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Betting. Trev, I'm really good at Yankees over-unders, I've decided. So there you go.
Did you guys check out our MVP odds and stuff? I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah,
Kind of funny. I also I hate those segments. I remember going back and forth with Jake before we recorded that I don't want to give guesses because I don't want to be held accountable to them because I don't care. So
who gave Jose Ramirez? Because that one, he's sneaking up there now.
That's again. I mean, I don't want to pat my back or anything, but Jose Ramirez, it was Jeff Passan's article today, has jumped to the Fangraphs WAR lead of all of baseball. WAR is a fickle stat, and the argument other people are saying he's not even the guy on his team. People have been looking at Bieber all year. But yeah, Jose Ramirez was plus 5,000. So if that comes through, I will I'll do a little
and we were doing value picks, like we were
finding. And Shohei, we said, and that one did not.
It was just interesting because if he could affect both sides of the ball, not good. Gary Sanchez had the plus 5,000, so we were like, hey, and absolutely awful. Like, I didn't think Gary was. See, someone already came at me because they were like, you thought Gary Sanchez was going to win MVP. And I was like, no, I did not.
Yeah.
Value.
The value pick.
And then I think I don't know, the only other thing that stands out were the locks that we've mentioned. Jim picked the Twins over, looks good. Moose Tacos for Plouffe has to get real hot. And then I had Goldie and Orioles. Goldie looks good. Orioles.
Yeah, why'd you?
A little less than a coin flip, but I believe.
Jake, why did you give 2 locks?
Because that's how I roll, baby.
I'm happy now. I guess I gave the Twins over as my lock, unless they don't win another game. I'm good. Trev, your lock was Moose. You're bad.
Yeah, bad.
Jake had 2 locks, so he's good and bad.
Yeah. Well, they could both be good. Then I'd be good.
Oh, the Orioles can still do it.
Yeah.
Just looking scared. Who do they play?
They're playing the Sox, which is a loser bowl, but then they finish with the Jays, who so I need the Sox to dig deep for a couple games. Let's go Boston. Let's go Red Sox.
What all this is showing is just how dumb the season on paper is. You got to play the season. Gavin Lux was the huge favorite in NL Rookie of the Year, and he hasn't even played.
No, he's playing. He hit a home run the other day.
Yeah, he's back and forth between the alternate site. Clearly not what you want in a guy that, you put money on to win the Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year is like, how you can't even.
Well, Luis Robert has been good about it. I don't know if he still is the Rookie of the Year.
Him and Lewis are both limping towards the finish line. They've each had some decent slumps.
Let me go to my favorite website that has the tracking the
Jimmy odds, and then we'll get into some defense.
Michael Kopech he opted out.
Yikes.
That's a weird one, huh?
So right now you got Robert is plus 125 to win, and Lewis is plus 150.
So it's neck and neck.
Yep. And they've been their little trail, their little line draft, ebbs and flows together almost.
What are the chances we get DeGrom, Bieber, MVP?
DeGrom MVP? He just kind of blew that. This is last.
Did he have a bad game last night, or just
last night was good. The start before that was 2 innings. He came out early because of a hammy. I just don't think they're going to do pitcher MVPs.
Not for the if you're a pitcher MVP, you gotta be you gotta play into the reason your team is like.
I feel like all the position players caught up. If it was just Bieber and Ramirez didn't get it going, their offense kind of stunk. All right, I'll listen to it. But I think the pitchers are done for MVP.
I don't know. I mean, Bieber still leads the league in Baseball Reference WAR. Betts and Fried are right above him. Betts at 3.2, Fried at 3.1, Bieber at 3.0. There's an interesting case for Bieber to win the MVP.
Cruz is the favorite currently.
Who?
Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz is the favorite to win the AL MVP?
According to sports betting odds, he's plus 125.
He's like
Didn't
not
he
in
bang up
any.
his knee?
He's not in any categories here. That's weird.
Well, this was on September 15th.
Okay.
This website doesn't update, I guess.
Okay.
That's my
Hey,
favorite.
if you really look though around the league, you know who's leading the offensive categories
Here we
everywhere?
go.
Our freaking guy Juan Soto.
Yeah,
Nobody's talking about him. He leads in on base percentage, slugging percentage, and obviously, if you lead in both of those, you lead in OPS. The counting stats aren't there because he missed some games, but dude, the guy's a monster.
And he only missed some games because of a false positive.
Yes.
it's really, really nuts. Go Soto next year.
He's 21 years old still, dude.
Why doesn't he
He's
just
21.
sue the false positive company? They cost him money. They cost him arbitration leverage.
I think he did have another. I forget what he hurt, but he missed like 5 games with like an actual injury at some point.
Yeah, no.
You guys love the bold stats in Baseball Reference right now. Juan Soto, bold in batting average, bold in on base percentage, slugging, OPS and OPS plus, and another weird one: intentional walks.
I know, because no one else is good. And that's a sign. That's a sign of weak teammates more than.
The Nats have paid this guy like $1 million total, maybe a little bit over, and they've already got 9 WAR from him.
He's the best.
And they say WAR on any given year is worth like $8 million per.
He's the best.
There's some value in Juan Soto.
Do you guys want to do playoff brackets the Monday before the playoff starts, with actual something on the line? We'll do Bug, Zach, and the 3 of us.
I would do that.
Like money. I mean, and Bug and Zach don't have to put in money. Like I can just put in a pot.
Smoke
I'm in.
some pot. Let's put some pot in a pot.
Oh, you guys want to see it?
Do you have some?
Do you have some?
No, I don't do that.
You want to see mine?
It's a clean show.
Okay. All right.
Yours
Do you
look
want
like
to-
gummy bears.
You want to do the defense stuff?
Yeah, I want to break into that. I think it's kind of interesting. Something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but it really is relevant to when you look at, you know, who the good teams are and that's like sustainable. Defense gets overlooked in all of this, but when you really start breaking the metrics down, here comes Jim with some stanky.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, gummies. I miss those gummies.
All stuck together.
Those are spring training gummies right there.
Mm.
So there was, if you look at the Fielding Bible website, which is really fun to look at if you're looking at defensive stats, I think we should really start out with the teams and how that correlates to the postseason. Then we'll talk about some individual players who are like, what? I feel like that happens every single year. This year, Jose Abreu is one of them. He's been an absolute monster out there. But just looking at the overall defensive run save stat, people have different feelings about this stat, but it's pretty indicative of how a team, you know, converts batted balls into outs. The St. Louis Cardinals are always at the top or near the top. They have 34 defensive runs saved. Cleveland Indians, Chicago Cubs, Dodgers, White Sox, all the teams that are the good baseball teams, they're all up here. And really, I think when you break it down, there's 2 things that make these teams that are good. One is you got to have the players. You got to have the horses. If you have guys that can go get the ball and already have natural ability with their range, you're going to benefit from that already. So you think about the Cardinals, you know, they have Bader out there. DeJong is good at shortstop. Colton Wong is really good at second base. Goldie's usually pretty good at first base. So they're able to do it that way. You look at the Indians, obviously you have Lindor, who's good. They have a few guys. Also, they can do it. Then you look at their catchers. The catcher one's the most surprising to me when you look at it. And that's where the Indians get a lot of their value. Their catchers have been good. The Cubs are kind of all around good. You got guys like Baez out there doing really well. Rizzo's usually pretty good in this category. But if you guys are looking at this list, I sent it to you. Is there any teams that surprise you that are up there?
I mean, I'll try to start out wide and just tell you how I'm appreciating this, because everyone appreciates defensive stats kind of differently. The Cardinals aren't surprising to see them at the top of the team list. Just because, think about it, whenever we talk about the Cardinals, we're just like, really well-run organization. They got Flaherty and a couple good players, but they just, play good ball. And it's like, well, there are ways to measure that, and one of them is defense. So I'm not surprised to see them. Bader, Colton Wong, like you mentioned. What's initially just jumping off this sheet to me is seeing the big numbers and like where are the big numbers popping. And obviously the one that hits you in the middle of the screen is Colorado Rockies third base. We know who that guy is. And I think it's kind of funny. Like, if you take that out of the equation, I think the Rockies are almost an average defensive team. With Nolan Arenado, it brings them up a ton. So you wonder, when you do talk team defense, you wonder where is the line on that? The other positive one that really jumped out, and it is further down on the screen, but Atlanta Braves shortstop, and that would be Dansby Swanson, which kind of funny. I was on his stat page earlier. The offensive stats have come back down to earth pretty good, around average, but it is cool to see him doing it defensively, because he's still rating out very much as a plus player. So those were the initial things that jumped out to me. Team wise, other than that, I'm not really sure.
I think, so we're talking about the individual players that really do it, and then it's the organizations, and a lot of this depends on, where teams set up. So I think I gave BBD a chart. I've tweeted this out earlier. I think it's interesting for people to look at it. Good. Get rid of Jake's face. We don't care about it. It's a little iffy here. This is on my Twitter. If you just Google like Trevor Plouffe defensive positioning tweet, it'll come up. And this is from the Phillies. So if you look at these numbers, this will be a left-handed pitcher, right-handed pitcher, and then you have all the guys lined up. So each team has their own system of how they want to do it, how they divide the field into different quadrants. And the teams that are better at this and better at positioning, you're going to benefit from it as an individual player as well. The teams that aren't as good at this have to rely on your natural ability and your range and all that. You want both to be good. And that's kind of what you see with the Cardinals and the teams at the top of this. Both line up. The organization does a great job of positioning guys, and they have guys that can benefit and, take that to the next level because of their ability. So if you're looking at this chart here, there's a lot of like L5s, R2 plus ones, and it really kind of looks like how do you even read this? It's not as hard as it looks. I have this right here. So this is an infield chart, and it splits the chart, or splits the infield into left and right side. Not that hard to understand, right? That's the L and the R. And it does it into sections. So 0 is the middle of the field, and 5 is towards the foul line. There's 8 steps that separate the sections. So if you have an R2 plus 5, that is like slight pull for the second baseman. So think about each side being split into 5 sections, and there's 8 steps. So if you're looking at L5, 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 that's basically straight up for a third baseman. 0 would be in the middle, 5 would be over there, 8 steps from the line, and then you can go from there. And when you have this chart, you stick to it. They want you to stick to it to a T. A lot of times it'll be perfect. A lot of times it won't be perfect. You'll see pitchers kind of going back and forth about it. But this is what we're looking at. The guys that are checking their cap all the time, this is exactly what they're looking at. And if you got a team that's good at it and you know how to position and you pitch to that positioning and you do all that stuff, it could really help you individually as a player, then in turn help your team. So I thought it'd be really interesting to show that, make sure people know what we're talking about here. The Phillies, kind of bottom of the barrel with their defense. So this is maybe not the best old example there to look at, but definitely there's so much information and time goes in now to these positions and positioning people, the shifts and all that stuff. We'll see this come up in the postseason a bunch. So it's good to know where we stand.
I was surprised that the A's are poor at this and everything.
Where are they at? I'm looking.
Negative 14 total.
Where are they getting the negatives from? Marcus Semien, huh?
Semien, yeah.
Simeon's
he was a darling last year. I wonder what happened.
And non-shifts.
And non-shifts. So they're not shifting and they're just getting beat. Is that what that means?
Yeah, Chapman.
No one's putting up plus numbers for the A's, according to
Chapman was dealing with a little bit of injury. Obviously, we know he's out now. I think that could have helped him. But the Semien thing, I'm not too sure about. I didn't catch that the first time around here. That's interesting. I'm gonna go look up at his individual page now.
I think Semien had a hamstring or something lower body early, which I would guess plays a part because shortstop, you got to move around a lot. But
yeah, he's a negative defensive WAR right now.
Also, they're getting banged pretty good from their pitching spot, which I wonder what that truly means.
Let's take a look now. The next page, we'll do the individuals, and I want to talk to you and see if any guys jump off the page to you. You guys have that up?
Yep. Yeah. And, you guys already talked about Arenado and Swanson, and both of those guys are double digits.
The second guy on the list, that's one of the most surprising guys.
Buxton is double digits, and then you have Joey Gallo with the second most total runs saved with 11.
Playing right field, big old bad Joey Gallo, kind of doing it with his arm. You see his outfield arm there. I don't know what that means. He's got a 4 next to it, which is the highest we see here. And that one really surprised me. Also, Tyler O'Neill, our little Canadian, not exactly 5'11", probably more like 5'10", going out there, laying out, doing it. So I'm talking about Bader, but we're not even talking about O'Neill. This is where like when you see teams sign a guy and you're like, what? A lot of times they're looking at stuff like this. Where can we find value? And these types of numbers are extending guys' careers. Like Roberto Perez, if you look on here, he's I think he is the top catcher in a league with this. At 6 runs saved. I mean, that's what's keeping him around, man. Like that's going to extend his career exponentially.
Something I've been beating to death on the podcast a lot lately. Nolan Arenado in the 1 spot. His cousin, Josh Fuentes, is looking like he's about 15 or so from first base. So, again, if you just want to have some fun with cousins racking up defensive stats for the same baseball team, that's pretty sane. And, yeah, good for Gallo. I mean, I knew he was a big WAR guy. I think he has some Judgian attributes, like he's a mountain of a man, but he moves pretty good. I want to go check out some of Joey Gallo's throws now that he's rated that way. The catchers are interesting. And then, yeah, some of those Dodgers pieces, it almost makes sense. Kike Hernandez, Chris Taylor, why they've stuck around for so long in their roles. Apparently they play well everywhere and play good defense.
And you know who really does not want robo umpires, you guys? The catchers.
Yeah.
Because it completely eliminates what they're doing. If they are not able to take strikes or take balls and convert them into strikes, they won't have the stat. They won't be able to measure anything. You're going to get basically strictly offensive catchers. Maybe a guy needs to be able to block, throw some guys out. I get it. But as far as framing, which is the value of framing right now is very, very high. And as soon as you go to the robo zone, it's nil.
They like framing more than blocking now because you can steal a strike every single pitch, whereas blocking only matters when you get a runner on base. So they are prioritizing framing over blocking. A lot of people can't understand it, but I mean, the math kind of adds up. It is a little weird. Verdugo, really good arm.
My only counter to that would be the catchers that don't want that are the catchers on this list. There's also a group of 15 or so catchers that would be fine with robo-umps because they would be playing instead of these dudes.
Bangers. Yeah. I think we got to give one shout out to Trent Grisham, who's had a great year defensively. And man, if you guys remember back to last year's playoffs, the misplay of the ball in right field in the wild card game that ultimately let the Nationals win the World Series, that could haunt you. But Trent's come back, been a good defensive player, been a good overall player, and now has a chance to totally redeem himself in the playoffs with the Padres. I think that's a pretty cool little story there.
I love catchers, my favorite position. But I think robo-umps would let catchers actually hit again. Like right now, it's a dead position. There's like maybe 5 catchers that are offensive threats. There are so many non-professional bats that are major.
Would you even like bring 2 catchers on anymore? Or would you just have somebody that could like catch the ball that could go back there? Like your left fielder usually like, hey, just put some catcher's gear on this guy.
You still you know, it prioritizes pass balls and wild pitches again way more, which I do think is a harder skill. And you don't want people stealing on you. So it's not like you just completely lose everything, but hopefully it brings some offense to the position. I mean, right now it's almost as bad as like when pitchers were hitting. Like it's really bad. There's so many bad offensive catchers.
It's because of the framing stats and everything now. This has totally changed the way we look at the position. And it'll totally change if that next step happens, which we think it probably will in the next, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah. I mean, and then they're going to figure out some way to trick the computers. You're stealing strikes from the computers. If you catch it like this, you got to let the radar pick it up, catch it deeper now, or some shit like that. There'll be there's art to everything.
All right. That's kind of what we wanted to go through. Is there any individual guy that sticks out that you're like, oh, wow, bad or good?
Verdugo's got a good arm, I guess, which I just wasn't fully aware of that. I haven't caught a lot of Red Sox games, but good for him. He's having a great year.
Verdugo's good, man. That whole Boston thing, obviously turned so slanted because it was Mookie, but Verdugo's a piece. Interested to see if any of the other kids make themselves something. But Verdugo's a good ball player, and he had the really good interviews earlier in the year where he's like, "Hey, I'm not Mookie Betts at all, but he's doing pretty well. He's outplaying him defensively, technically."
Mm-hmm. My guy that's really upped his stock completely this year. I don't even know if he had a stock before this year.
Stonks.
Our guy on the Orioles, Anthony Santander.
Yeah.
Kind of a bigger boy, 6'2", 225, manning right field. He had a great career year offensively. The 137 OPS plus, 11 homers, 890 OPS. And then you go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th overall fielder according to defensive runs saved with 8 runs saved. That's making yourself some money right there, dude. You got both of those things going for you. It's a hell of a year by him. Something that we gotta definitely acknowledge when a guy puts up a year like that. Not out of nowhere, I guess, but he's 25. They used to say 26, 27, 28 was your prime. Maybe we'll see more of the Anthony Santander the next couple of years. I think that'd be cool. I love late bloomers. Love it.
In baseball.
And I don't like Jake.
Well, he's a late bloomer.
Tough ending. Oh, I peaked so early. Are you kidding me?
You were still waiting on a bloom.
8th grade, man. That was it. It's the bee's knees.
I think you got a bit. I think you hit
weight-wise.
You hit 32. I think your facial hair is going to kick in. I think you're
looking at Alejandro Kirk with bad facial hair.
Alejandro Kirk.
Awesome.
All right. Is that everything we got?
Trev.
Thanks, Trev.
A little deep dive into defensive metrics to put you to sleep there. Gotta love it.
Dropping some knowledge. People love it. All right. Hey, we'll be back. State of the podcast. Today is Tuesday. We'll be having voicemail episode recording on Wednesday, dropping on Thursday. On Friday, series recap to let you know what happened this week and what to look forward to over the weekend. And then it's over. Monday, we'll have a little recap of how things ended and a little postseason preview of sorts. And then it'll be daily episodes. I think 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Western. If you're a patron and you want to listen live, recapping whatever game happened the day before, all the playoff games. So that's going to be the schedule. I'll remind you as we go. But yeah, this is the last week of the regular season. We're here. So call in with a voicemail if you have one. Love you guys. See you later.